All right, next up, Nevada, Kansas State. We've got Nevada 2.5-point road favorites in Manhattan, 49 the total. And I think Nevada's favored for a reason here. I think they win the game. I really do. Are we going to really, really get into Kansas State being so great against Stanford? Because Stanford was terrible, all right, in that game a couple of weeks ago. They were awful. And it's shocking to see Stanford play as well as they did against USC after looking so terrible against Kansas State. But I need to see more from Kansas State, especially now with the injury to Skylar Thompson, the quarterback, who's going to be out for at least a few weeks. And that means Will Howard is – I've saw enough of Will Howard last year for Kansas State. Not someone I trust at the quarterback spot. Not at all. Barely complete 50% completions in most games. I think there's a downgrade from Skylar Thompson to Will Howard. Some kind of downgrade, I think, at the quarterback, not having him and having to go with Will Howard going into this game. So definitely issues for K-State offensively. The defense was great against Stanford, but you're going to compare Stanford. That Jack West was not good. Maybe if they had faced Tanner McKee at quarterback the whole game for Stanford, they would have had some struggles. But McKee got into the game late against K-State, and he's the one that led them down the field and put points on the board. So that the Jack West Stanford offense, night and day to what they're going to see here with Carson Strong, a terrific offensive line, a great receiving core, and a team that went on the road and beat a solid Cal team on the road and overcame a 14-0 hole early in that game to come. That showed me something. That showed me some spunk. That showed me we're a mentally tough football team. Jay Norvell continues to do a good job with that program. I think going into K-State and win that football game, Nevada. So that's the side I'm on there. Connor Mack, what do you think? Nevada, K-State?
Yeah, I haven't bet it, but I kind of look Nevada. I always think it's difficult to go into Manhattan and win there at K-State. But you talked about the quarterback change with Thompson to Howard. And just you got to go back to them beating up Stanford without McKee. I mean, he played great against SC. He came in the end of that game. And then UNR just kind of cakewalk. I saw some of that Ohio State game, 49-10. I don't love it because they're laying points there. But I lean them. I liked this UNR team last year. I like them now. I haven't made a bet, but it's just a lean with them.
Yeah, this reminds me of Rutgers for me against Syracuse last week, Pitt against Tennessee for me last week. I wouldn't love it laying more than a field goal, but you lay less than that, I can get there with Nevada where it is right now because it's just basically win the game price range right now with where they're currently lined. Grant, what do you think here?
I actually haven't looked at this game, but I wanted to say something about what you guys were talking about as getting ahead of the line, just as a gambler and getting into this world that I've been in, for the last several years, learning and just for people and myself the book's got to post a number. We don't have to place a bet. They got to post a number. So if you can get in early, like Ian has on a couple of these games, I got in on a CU bet earlier this morning. Conor gave me a couple last week. This is a value of this show where we can get ahead of the line. And win or lose, you've made a solid bet. And then if you're on the right side of it, like Ian was talking about, you can buy back in certain areas. So I don't even want to talk about the game, but just to make that point to everyone, and even me personally, it's been huge to learn. Well, if you're just chilling at home on Sunday night, in bed or whatever, depending on your level, take a look at next week's games. Start to develop your gambling process. Start to develop what works well for you, and also you just get ahead of people. Just the littlest things. Ian obviously smashed it this morning, but just the littlest things. If you just get a couple other games here and there, whether you bet them or not, you get info and you gain info, especially on those early lines. So something I've really taken seriously as a bettor, maturing in my process. I just want to make that point.
It's a great point, Grant, because I find I've had to do this the last couple of years. I just can't put myself in a bind and wait till Thursday, Friday to be betting a lot of these games. I mean, it's just you lose so much, and especially when you can nail the line movement correctly. Yep.
Real quick, but this day and age, we still deal with COVID.
Right.
And a lot of such. So there's some games you got to wait. And, So it's a little bit of both. I found for my capping, a little like in a game like Coastal, I think you get on there just the better team. You're getting the better number.
Yeah.
But I think in some, games, depending on the teams, you can wait later on in the week if there's question marks because of COVID injuries, etc.
And if one of the teams I bet on a Monday, like say Coastal or Nevada or whoever, gets COVID or injuries pop up, I can always buy back at a better number then, with on the other team a little bit if I would get a little worried about the state and how things are unfolding during the course of the week. Absolutely.